Hello everybody, it is I, the second antagonizer, bringing you a new video about Sia's new film, Music, which is about an autistic young girl who has these kind of fantasies of her being kind of musicals, I guess you could say. Yes, my opinion regarding this film will be, well, I'm not just going to be talking about the film, but I'm also going to be talking about people's responses to the film. Primarily, well, probably 50-50 on both. Anyway, before I continue, I just want to say my opinion will be biased for the following reasons. Number one is that, firstly, I have seen people's criticisms of the film, so my view of the film was warped before I got a chance to watch it, so I got to watch it with less of an open mind, which is a bit unfortunate. Secondly, I am a fan of Sia, which means I might, I could end up praising her somewhat just because I am a fan of her. I could take her side more just because I am a fan of her. That's biased, of course. And thirdly, I have Asperger's. And I would like to follow that up by saying I'm not offended by this film. I'm not offended by it at all. And even if I felt like it misrepresented autism in any way personally, I wouldn't feel like it attacked me personally because, as the saying goes, if you've met one person on the spectrum, you've met one person on the spectrum. So I don't see Maddie and say, "Oh, they're making fun of me," or "Oh, they're trying to, play me in some way, but they're failing at it, and that makes me angry." Not that that's what that's why people are getting offended. People are getting offended by it for a number of different reasons. Um, some because they didn't cast an autistic person. Others is because they feel as though Maddie's misrepresenting people on the spectrum. Um, and two of those things I'd like to say, if you're offended, um, I guess fair enough. You voice your opinion about it. If you feel like the film is doing something that you don't like, be heard, speak, post a comment on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to post it on. Post a comment wherever, and be heard. And if you feel like it's misrepresenting, then say this is misrepresenting. Or if you think somebody else should be cast, fair enough. Say somebody else should be cast. But I think the line is drawn when people try to get the film taken down. Some people said they really would like the film to get taken down. I really don't like that. I don't like the idea of a film getting taken down because you're offended. Because when films get taken down, when people are offended, we lose good films. That's not to say that music is a good film. Then again, it's really based on opinion. Some people can find it good, others can find it bad. But the really, really bad thing is when films get taken down because people are offended, that means anything can get taken down because people are offended by different things, which is hence why I don't like censorship because it just goes down a really bad alley. But anyway, that's the only beef I have with people voicing their opinions about this film. And secondly, I'm going to be blunt here, and people are going to not like what I'm saying at all. But people need to honestly grow up. There will be things that will offend you online. There will be things that will offend you in films. There will be things that may offend you in video games. You're okay. You're not going to die because you're offended by something. I mean, it's so ridiculous how so many people these days just get offended by things. So little things. Like I think there was even one film where there was this witch who had like long fingers or whatever. She had like long nails, and she was like scaring kids. She was like, "I'm scaring you," and people started complaining because they associated that with like I think it was some sort of disease that negative like shrivels your fingers or the skin or affects the bones in your fingers. I don't know if it was leprosy or it was something. But people were like, oh, you're making fun of these people who have this, this disorder or this disease, and it's just ridiculous. It really is just ridiculous. It's like going back like less than 100 years ago. Like people, there was a world war. And people getting killed, and now today, where a lot of us are really safe, we've got roofs above our heads, everything's automated, and we're complaining because we're offended by something, because something in a film, offends us, and we feel so strongly about it that we need to get it taken down. And a wise man once said this, and I believe it was Linus Torvalds, I believe his name. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. But he says, if you're the type of person that gets offended easily, then you need to be offended. You should be offended if you're the type of person because now maybe it's good for you. Maybe it'll make you think, right? If you get offended by something. And yeah, people aren't gonna like the fact that I said that. They're probably gonna dislike this video. Fair enough. I'm not doing this for likes. Look at the quality of the camera. I do this for a living, right? You dislike it if you don't like my opinion, but that's it. I think people get offended too easily, and they need to take a step back. And if you don't like how something's offended in if something's portrayed in the film and you genuinely are offended, that's okay. But just take a step outside yourself and then ask yourself: is the person who made this film, did they really make it with the intention of offending me, or did they just want to entertain me? Right? Um, that's what happens. Nobody really wants to offend you. Even comedians that say really outlandish jokes, they don't deliberately want to offend you. They just want to make you laugh. Another film probably wants to scare you, or another film wants to just give you adrenaline and an action. For they want to entertain you. Nobody really wants to offend you. At the end of the day, you might be if you're offended. Okay, fine, you're offended, but you're okay. You're gonna survive. You're not gonna die. When you're commenting about these things and you're getting angry about these things, just take a step outside yourself for a moment and be civil. Even though I might not be the most civil right now, but I just feel like somebody needs to say, look, we're getting offended so easily. We really just need to chill out. Okay, we just need to chill out because we're getting offended so easily by everything offends us these days. You walk outside and a fly goes on your foot and you're like, how dare you fly on my foot? I'm going to post a Twitter comment about you. It's just, that's pretty much what it is these days. But yeah, so that got me a few dislikes. Great. Now on to the next row, the next row of dislikes that I might get. People say that Sia should have casted a person on the spectrum. Look, that's fair enough. But I mean, Sia. One person I think commented and said like, oh, you should have casted a person. One person posted on sorry, one person posted on Sia's Facebook and said uh, she went on to, I think it was he or she, I can't remember, I think it was she went on to say that, hey, I'm a person with autism and I would have jumped at the chance if you would have given me this role. That would have been fantastic. And she went on to say, why she was good at actor and so on. And Sia said, well, maybe you're a bad actor. And that sounds really bad. And that's it's a very blunt comment, right? But maybe she was right. Maybe she didn't find the right person to fit the part for the actor. Because then again, it's not enough that you just have the disability. You need to be able to play a different character. Okay, it's not you. You're not playing you because the character has autism. You might have autism as well, but that doesn't mean the character you're playing with autism is you. The character still is a different individual that you need to play. It might have the character might have the same disability as you, but it's still a different character, still a different personality, right? Not to mention the fact that the lighting and the music. I mean, imagine somebody on the spectrum. Even I got like headaches watching like some of the film. Like every now and then, it was like, oh god, there's so much lighting and just things happening and all over the place. That would just be overload for anybody on the spectrum. It'd just be a terrible experience. And as some people would say, well, change the set, change the lighting, change the music so it's appropriate for somebody in the spectrum. And yes, that's a good point, but you have to take into consideration that all that lighting and the colors and the music, that's all Sia's style. That's what she wants to create. And at the end of the day, it's something that she's enjoying. It's something that she enjoys creating. It's her art. I know I like to make video games, and even though I'm making video games for other people, I'm also primarily making it for myself because I really enjoy doing it. I want to create what I want to create in the way I want to create it, and if I want to use certain colors or a color palette, I want to use that color palette. If I want to use this art style, I want to use this art style. If I want to use this music, I want to use this music, right? It's my creation and I want to be able to, that's what helps me enjoy it. I get to put myself into it. And that's, those colors and those, that lighting is, yeah, it's not good for people on the spectrum, but that's Sia's style. That's who she is. And she'd have to change all of that in the set to account for somebody with autism. Not to mention that there could be other challenges that could come from somebody working with autism. Around the set was all those people and noise and whatnot backstage and behind the scenes. So I can understand and sympathize with Sia when she says it was difficult to find someone in the spectrum who could pull that off, right? Because you'd have to change so many things to get that working. So that's why I'm kind of I'm understanding as to why she hasn't casted somebody on the spectrum, because one, she probably couldn't find a good actor to do it. And that's not to say that people on the spectrum are bad actors. I guess she just hadn't come across ones that were really good for the part. Then again, I have to admit, I think I've personally watched the film. Um, I'd like to say Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 8%. I didn't think it was deserving of an 8%, but I will say this: I felt like it was lacking a plot. It was more of a simple film, like it was just something that you'd kind of enjoy, and that was nice for the heart, and it was supposed to be sweet and all of that kind of stuff. There were of course dramatic scenes. There were dramatic scenes, but I think there was like a main plot that was kind of missing from it, and it wasn't really, I think that she could have worked more on the plot. I think that's why, because the plot was a bit weak, that Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 8%. Um, but overall, in terms of how autism was represented in the film and how Maddie's character was treated in the film, I want to go over one of the first scenes. And this was when Maddie was walking down. It was at the beginning when she was walking down the street, and it showed the carer that was taking. I think it was not the carer, but I think it was her grandmother. I can't remember at the time. But her grandmother would watch from the building as she walks by the street, and there would be a number of people in the street who would know her, who probably known her for quite some time, and they would all help her. They would, they would all let her have a walk on her own, and there would be one guy that would be, in front of her pushing a pram, and he would like look behind himself, and he's go, okay, she's dead. So he would like buy like a little watermelon stick for her, and then he would walk away, and then the guy selling the watermelon sticks would give her a watermelon stick. So there was sweet moments in the film where it showed how much the characters cared for her. It was very clear that there was a lot of characters that cared for her in the film, and I could see his intention being displayed there. That kind of loving intention wasn't really a negative one. I felt that there was a loving intention in the film, at least. And then again, I'd like to say was when it comes to Maddie playing the role, I do think that she's probably the wrong person. I felt like some of her acting was a bit off here and there, but and then again, it might be because I was influenced with all the negative criticism saying that Maddie was just really bad for this role. That could have been a reason why I was kind of like, I don't know, because it was hard to judge her acting fairly when so many people criticized this film. It was really, really hard to judge her acting in a fair way. I did see one comment below the video that was from, I believe, a man who mentioned that his younger daughter, had autism, and she really loved the film, and she really related to Maddie as a character. And he was disappointed that so many people were showing it criticism, and that they're really upset by it. Yes, so that's also one thing being said. So I guess it's hard to judge it in that sense. Overall, I thought it was an alright film. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. It was something different. I'd probably give it 50%. I wouldn't give it like 8% like Rotten Tomatoes. And to the people who make videos of it and criticize it without even watching the film, I think that was the one really negative side about this, is that people were like criticizing it before they even watched it. And Sia was like, even though many of Sia's comments were really bad, there was one comment that was really bad. I remember I will say this. I will criticize Sia for this. Her reaction was very immature to people's criticism, but at the same time, she worked on this film for 4 years. You could say that she didn't do enough research. Fair enough. Um, but she worked on it for 4 years. She still worked on it for 4 years. And there's been a number of projects that I've worked on seriously for a long time. And if people outright criticize them before consuming them, I would probably be pretty angry as well. I restrain myself from saying bad things online because there's a reputation around your product, and you've got to be civil and responsible because you're selling a product to somebody or providing a service. So you've got to be kind of like civil and whatnot and deal with the customers and so on and so on and so forth. But I can understand why Sia would be so angry to have people criticize her film by just watching like a 1 or 2 minute trailer. I mean, like the first trailer came out was probably a 1.5 minutes, and people were just throwing fireballs at it like they hated it, and it was like you've only watched a 1 minute trailer. You haven't actually seen the film. You've seen one or two facial expressions from Maddie that you didn't like, and that was enough for you to make a like 40-minute video about why you didn't like the film or something like that, right? So, um, yeah, like a lot of her comments were immature, Sia, but I can understand why she acted, why she responded in such a way to people criticizing her film, because 4 years of work, that would probably make me upset too if people didn't even give it a chance. And, that was one thing she said, like, please give it a chance. Yeah, I can't remember the last really immature comment Sia said, but I think it was before she removed her Twitter and then she laid low, so I don't know what she's doing now. But I know it's come to the point these days where, like, you feel like you can't really you can't challenge anything. Like, you can't, like, push the envelope when it comes to making a new film and try different things because somebody's going to get offended by it. Somebody's going to want to get it taken down. Comedy's even being affected. Look at the state of comedy now. Like, a lot of new stand-ups, they just suck. Like, they just suck because everybody's getting offended. You can't make anything without offending somebody. I think that's the main issue here. It's not so much the film itself. That being said, like, even though it did offend a lot of people, it did raise the discussion for a topic that I don't think would be discussed much anyway, because I think a lot more people learnt about autism, or at least learnt more about it from this film. I'm not just saying by watching this film, but seeing the reaction to this film. People would learn a lot more about autism, which is one good thing that you can take from this film, is that she kind of shined a light on that. She she may have messed up some kind of she might have messed up representing autism in some way, but that raised the discussion. Now people are talking about it. Now people are learning about it, and that's a good thing. So I guess it's, I feel a little bad for Sia. I think putting all like her heart into this and just being torn down, I think, from it. But I can understand why people are offended if they feel like it's misrepresented. But I just think it's a bit of an overreaction. There were some people that were like shaking when they were making videos, and it's like, just it's a movie. Just, it's okay. Just if you feel like it's misrepresented, you in any way, just voice your opinion and say, I feel like this is misrepresented autism and so on and so forth, and be civil about it, because autism community, when you react so negatively about a movie or a game or a product, then it reflects poorly on you. It makes you look weak, like you can't handle a film doing something that doesn't conform with the way you think, or doesn't match with your view of something. It's like, I guess that's pretty much it. Like, you have to, based on how you react to things, it changes how people think about the autism community in general, right? And yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, a lot of people may not like this. I might second guess putting this video up. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, please give me your honest opinion. If you thought I was too blunt, or if you just want to talk about music, or if you want to talk about people getting offended and whatnot, give me your honest opinion down below, and we can have a discussion about it. I just think it's unfortunate how people. I think if you get offended by something really easy, I really do think you need to be offended. If you're that type of person who gets offended easily, you need to be offended, and you need to think. Somebody needs to make you think, right? Because that's just ridiculous. It really is. I mean, there's people all the way across the world who are probably dying in a war right now, or people starving, and you're offended by something. I mean, it's okay that you're offended. Again, it's okay, but just like, take a step back. It's it's not the end of the world. You're all right. You can still live with your life. You can still live on. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, well, I don't know. Maybe you're offended. Tell me that you're offended. And if you did, great, awesome. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. It's cool. I totally respect any opinions. Awesome. Well, I hope you all have a lovely day, regardless. This has been an interesting video of mine. I don't make many videos, so cool. All right, signing off.